This is your Exxon Mobil stock update. Today's date is April 9th, the end of the trading day. Let's go over the stock and kind of see where we are right now as far as the pattern and the trend goes. We have had a pullback. Oil has come down. You've seen the markets kind of get a bounce, relief bounce. The straight is said to be open, right? Is all that going to hold? Let's get through this. Let's look at oil. Let's look at Exxon. Let's look at the different levels of support and resistance we have moving forward. So by the end of this video, you'll feel confident in moving forward of how to trade Exxon Mobil. And if you're a current investor, of where you think price could go. And if you could maybe get some shares at a discount, or if we're going to keep continuing to the upside from this pullback that we're currently in. My name's Thomas. I've been trading for about 6 years now. I mainly trade options, but I want to do this update for you. I also cover Oxy, so if that's something you're interested in, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my updates. But let's get into the charts. So looking at Exxon Mobil, we're on the weekly time frame. I always like to work my way from the bigger time frames down to the smaller time frames, because then you can have your levels to actually trade off of, and you can see the actual trend that we're currently in, right? So looking at Exxon on the weekly, you can see last week we had a pretty big rejection candle at the end of the week, right? And this week so far, we are continuing that, right? And so far, we've kind of wicked up. And right now, we closed today at 155.04. And currently in the after hours, we're down 90 cents. So nothing crazy. We're kind of unchanged in the after hours for the most part, okay? So just looking, let's mark our support and resistance I see on the weekly time frame. And just to give you a heads up, on the RSI, the relative strength index, currently on the weekly, we're at 64. Okay, so we're starting to come down a little bit. So we're not as overbought as we were, which is a good thing for the overall trend, right? Okay, so let's mark. So you can see, so let's do a zone actually, because I don't like doing just pure lines. So let me find the zone here. Let me delete that. Because I like to do a zone because I don't want you to think, okay, it hits this line and that's it, right? I have to go off of that just one pure area, but that's not the case, right? Because a lot of times you're going to either you can come all the way through that level, or you could not even get to that level and already bounce, okay? So that's one reason I like to just do a zone. So you can see on the weekly, we have a pretty good area. I'd say right in this general area, because you can see, sorry, there we go. You can see where we bounced off here, in this area right here, and pushed up. You can see this has just been a pretty big level off the weekly chart. So that ranges from like 145 to 150, okay? So you can see we came close to this area and already bounced up this week, right? So in my opinion, by looking at how this chart looks currently, today being Thursday, we have 1 day left in the trading day. I would probably expect us to have another down day tomorrow, okay? That's just what I see looking at this overall chart. I could be wrong. We may just have an inside day tomorrow, but looking at this, I do expect us to come back all the way back into this area. It might not happen until next week or the week after, but I would not really go in heavy on buying into Exxon until we come down and tap into this 145 area, this 150 to 145. So this $5 range of an area would probably be a good spot to maybe nibble on, right? Now, obviously, the resistance that we have at the top here, we'll just mark that. Okay, that's around 176.62 moving forward. But I do see this as a good zone to buy in, okay, moving forward. Let's look at the daily. Let's see how this looks when you look at the daily. So you can see all this price action we've had. That's why this is a pretty big area, right, on the daily time frame. Okay, and you can see we've bounced off of it so far. We actually had a nice hammer candle on this day, right? So I believe that was, let's see, today's third, so Wednesday. This was Wednesday's candle. So we had that gap down after the news broke with the ceasefire, right? Pretty big gap down, and then we closed with the bullish hammer. So actually, it's not looking too terrible right now, and you want to see that RSI reset because we were so overbought, right? And right now the RSI is at 44 on the daily, so we're coming down nicely, which is what you want to see. You want to see a nice little reset to get some continuation back to the upside, okay? Because we were definitely overbought. Because you can see right here on the daily, we got up around almost 77 on the RSI, okay? Which is definitely overbought. So right now, we could see us continue back to the upside to fill this gap. Now, where's this gap start? Honestly, up here, right? 163.77. So we could end up pushing back up to that 163.77 to fill the gap, because all gaps get filled eventually. It doesn't happen right away sometimes. Sometimes it does, but there's not much resistance in here, right? So we could end up going back up to the upside to fill this gap eventually at 163.77. So keep your eye on that. If we start moving upside, we get into this gap, we could go up and fill this gap all the way up, right? Looks like we kind of tried that today. We came pretty close, honestly. I mean, honestly, you could probably call that pretty close to filling, but I do expect us to eventually go back to that 163.77 and be my upside resistance to the top side if we really get a bullish move. And if we get over that 163.77, you can see us continue upside, right? So just looking at the 4-hour time frame, and you can see how these levels are playing out pretty well. Like right here, we rejected, right, in the backside. This is pretty big resistance on the 4-hour time frame. But you can see we almost basically had a bear flag up, right? And we're continuing back to the downside. So I do see us probably tomorrow coming back down into this zone that we have marked right here. And you can see all these touch points in this area. So this is a high level of support. So overall, this is definitely a good spot to start nibbling at some shares. And like I said, I would watch for a test of this area right here as well. Around 159.27 is another level of significance. So just watch that level. If we get over that 159, I expect us to attack the 163 level, okay? But moving forward, as of right now, it's looking like we had that bear flag breaking down. We rejected up here, and you can see it's a pretty significant area. We rejected, and we are continuing to the downside. And you're seeing that with the RSI as well. We're at 35 on the RSI on the 4-hour time frame, and it looks like we're going to start continuing back to the downside. So we might see some more bearish continuation on Exxon moving forward, unless some other tweak comes out and there's another issue with the ceasefire. But as of right now, we're seeing a little downside on Exxon. Let's look at oil to see how that's comparing and moving forward, what we can see with oil. So let's look at the daily time frame just so we can have a better idea of what we're looking at. So you can see on the daily, we originally got the news. We pushed up here to almost 120 on oil, right? Got that big rejection candle, came back, right? And then the other day we made that high of like 117, 118 area, and then we rejected pretty hard. We're back under this level of 102, and currently oil is up 1.5% today. It actually closed at 97.97. All right. So we're under $100, right? So if you want to see more bullish continuation in the oil industry, I would say we want to get over first that $98 level, which we're close to, but then eventually back over that 102 that we rejected today. All right. If we can get back over 102, we should be able to see some more bullish continuation moving forward. Then the next level on oil would be that 106, 107 area. But right now we closed under that level that I have marked here previously. So we could end up coming back down to this 87 area, 89, 87 area on oil before we get a move back to the upside. I don't expect us to come all the way back down into the 60 range like we were previously before this all happened with Iran moving forward. So I do expect oil to stay elevated for some time. Just because the Strait opens does not mean we're automatically going to have a huge drop on oil and everything's just fine, right? We got the initial news shock, right? But everything's still messed up with all that's happened so far. So it's going to be a backlog. It's going to take time to get everything moving again, which is still going to keep oil elevated over time, right? You're seeing a bounce in the markets right now. We're going to see if we can continue that. I'm kind of surprised, honestly, on how big of a bounce we've had in the markets with, still rumors of missiles being fired amongst the ceasefire being in place, right? So we'll see what happens. Be on your toes. Anything can happen in these markets, but Exxon still moving forward looks bullish overall, right? We're getting a pullback, but we've been running hard as of late. So I do see some more bullish continuation in the next couple of weeks potentially, but just stay patient. If you're not in Exxon right now, just wait until we hit those levels like we just discussed. Just to go back, show you. So this zone right here would be my buy area, right? This, what do we say? Basically that 145 to 150 area. So that zone, that $5 area would be a good spot to purchase in. And then if we see us break below the 145 area, I would probably get out if you're just holding short term, because we could continue to the downside pretty big if we break this area right in here. Okay. So just keep that in mind. But I do see moving forward this 145 to 150 area to be a pretty big buy area, right? So if we hold this area moving up, I do want to see us attack the 163 area moving forward. But like I said, I do think you should be patient and wait for this area right here, 145 to 150, to move forward. Thanks for watching today. If you got any value whatsoever, please give me a like. Leave me a comment what you think Exxon and the oil industry is going to end up doing here in the near term. A lot of people think it's just going to keep dumping. I have a different belief. I think we're going to keep moving to the upside, but I might be wrong, right?